right. Hitting the button. All right, we are up and running. Fantastic. Okay. Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm James Ellis, the employer brand nerd of Employer Brand Labs. I can't even talk. This is going to be a real fun live event. So here we are at another employer brand breakdown. Today we're going to talk about a very cool company, right? A very exciting biotech company that many of you have heard of. I'm surprised if anybody hasn't, but I'm hedging my bets here. Moderna, who is one of the handful of companies who came up with a COVID vaccine, right? This is fantastic stuff. They did amazing work. They've got an employer brand. They've got a brand new employer brand tagline, and we're going to take a look at the overall employer brand experience. Now, remember, for these little events, whatever we're calling these, webinars, recordings, LinkedIn Lives, whatever, however you're watching it, I'm not here to bust chops. I'm not here to tell anybody they're doing anything wrong. I'm here to say there are things that a company or brand I think is doing very well, and there are things that they could be doing better. This is not about making anybody feel bad or teasing anybody. This is purely about how does someone like me look at a brand to see what can be done better to advance and support the overall brand. That's what we're trying to do here, okay? So just if you're looking for snark, look elsewhere. This is not what we're doing today. So let me get where is all the things? I've got so many buttons here. You wouldn't believe how many buttons I have at my disposal. There's the thing I'm looking for. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen so we can all look at the same thing at the same time. So here we are. Let's start here. This is the Moderna website. You should be looking at the Moderna website. Okay, so quick background. Moderna, yes, COVID vaccine, but that COVID vaccine came from a thing called messenger RNA or mRNA, or very often just RNA. That is science that has been around for a little bit. They discovered RNA a while ago. It's been a bit. It's not something they discovered in 2020. This has been something that's been around. It just wasn't particularly sexy. It wasn't an approach that a lot of biotechs were taking in terms of drug development and drug discovery. Moderna leaned into it. That was their gamble. That was the choice. That's kind of the choice every biotech has in terms of what is the approach, what makes us different, how are we going to get to the point where we're actually developing and shipping drugs, right? That was their approach. They focused on mRNA. Now, 2020 happens, and what was a nice growing biotech exploded because they could come up with a COVID vaccine. COVID, which was a disease which was very hard to fight against. It was very hard to make any kind of vaccination for. mRNA was the way in which they did it. They were one of 3 companies that figured out how to make a vaccine, depending on the country in which you live, and they did it in record time. Remember, USA locked down in March of 2020. The vaccine was available by the end of that year, very starting to become available. They made 100 million cases of these things, 100 million vaccines, and developed it and tested it and did everything in record time. So unbelievably innovative. Great. And since then they've more than doubled in size. They're growing like crazy, a super well-known biotech. They've actually kind of achieved a kind of escape velocity where a lot of biotechs are sitting in the 100 to 400, 500 range employees. Moderna is up to 3,000, I think, or 7,000, or some crazy number. They're not at a Johnson & Johnson level or a Genentech or a Roche. They're not a massive pharma, but for biotechs, very big, growing very fast. So here we are at their career site. Pretty standard stuff. And I've looked at a lot of biotech career sites. This is fine. It's doing what I've seen every other biotech career site do. Life at Moderna, behind the science and awards. And so here they are talking about life at Moderna. Hey, mRNA is a turning point in the history of science, medicine, technology. It's a breakthrough discovery. We are here to no longer question of how, but a question of when. Come see us as we pursue uncharted reaches of possibility. Okay, this is my first kind of criticism. There's nothing here about life at Moderna. This is about science, which is great. That's fantastic, right? That's what the company's all about. But it doesn't say anything about the experience of working at Moderna. If you had changed that label to say why we're here, that paragraph would make perfect sense. As a paragraph labeled as life at Moderna, it's promising something that it's not delivering on. And that's a bit of a challenge. We scroll down and it's a lot of embrace your future. It's people in bunny suits and white clean rooms and white outfits. It's our mindset. It's our impact. a lot of stuff that we see in a lot of biotechs, standard stuff. Biotechs tend to lean, this is broadly painting with a broad brush, they tend to lean towards talking about how much impact they make, that innovation, we can change things, and we're going to save lives. The problem is that's what everyone says, and frankly, that's the only reason a biotech exists. They're there to make a drug that will save lives. So this is my challenge to biotech, is to say, you've got to learn how to say more than we're going to save lives and we're going to innovate, because every biotech can and does say that. It's not a way to differentiate. Okay, so we got Volunteers Week, we've got some benefits, ERGs, bring your best self, good, strong claims. Could be stronger always. I always believe that most claims could be made stronger somehow, but they're doing a decent job. It's a decently designed site. Let's very quickly go over to their LinkedIn, which I believe I have over here. And I want to talk about LinkedIn because there's something here that isn't on the career site, and that is their new tagline. Now, here's the sum total of insider knowledge I have. I know that they've invested in a brand new employer brand in the last 3 to 6 months, something like that. And it's starting to roll out. And here it is on LinkedIn, Moderna, this changes everything. Now, I'm going to say, full disclosure, the first time I read that, I was not blown away. That did not knock my socks off. That did not flip my lack of hair back, right? It was kind of like, oh, this changes everything. It's a very, I won't say vague. It's certainly a broad idea, right? This changes everything. You could actually apply that tagline to all sorts of stuff. You could apply it to Tesla. You could apply it to SpaceX. You could apply it to NASA. You could apply it to Apple. You could apply it to Amazon. You could apply it to lots and lots and lots of different companies, which to me is a red flag. Right? If you can take your employer brand tagline and stick it near lots of different companies, are you being specific enough? Because for me, the goal and purpose of an employer brand, and we'll talk about whether that's a brand or not, because it's complicated. We'll get to that. The purpose of a brand or a tagline is that it establishes that this company, whatever company you're talking about, is either a most or an only. It is the most friendly legal company, the most friendly legal partnership you've ever seen. It is the most supportive, I don't know, consumer packaged goods company. It is the most status-driven garbage facility. I don't know, whatever it is, it's something that you are the most of relative to other companies in that industry. You're a most. Or you're an only. We're the only company that lets you bring your pet to work. We're the only company that closes on, we're the only legal firm or law firm that closes on Fridays or has summer hours. We're the only agency with work-life balance. Like, there's all sorts of ways you could do that. You're either an most or you're either an only. The problem with a tagline like this, and remember, this is my first reaction, is that it's trying to be a most in a space where every biotech can make the same claim, right? Every biotech is trying to change things. They're trying to start a drug or take an approach to drug discovery that changes drug discovery as an industry. That's why they're there. That's tough. But then I thought about it. And I thought, well, gosh, you're talking about Moderna. This is a company that invented a COVID vaccine in record time, that made 100 million shots in record time. Wow, if there's a company that can actually lay claim in a credible way to a tagline like "this changes everything," isn't it Moderna? Right, they've chosen to fight their fight in a change innovation space. We're going to make change. It's a very crowded marketplace amongst biotechs, in that almost every biotech makes some sort of claim that they're going to change the world. That's what they're doing. It's a very crowded market. But that doesn't mean there isn't always a winner. That doesn't mean there isn't someone who is the most of that thing. Can I guarantee that Moderna is the most innovative? No. But they've got reasonable belief here that they might be one of the most innovative companies in that set. Between COVID vaccines and delivery and all the other stuff they're doing, there's a claim to be made here that I think is valid. Now, there's some challenges here. The first is, it's on their LinkedIn channel, but it's not on their career site. It's not on their webpage. And I think not being on their career sites, sure, career sites tend to turn slowly. No one really has fun updating their website very often. But the corporate site, the corporate homepage, this is a tagline that fits and suits employer brand and corporate brand equally. If they're going to have it and they're going to stick it on LinkedIn, they absolutely need to put it on their career site. This is a missed opportunity. If you're going to establish that brand, you can't just say it and think everybody believes it. You got to say it again and again and again. Otherwise, it just comes off as a claim that falls out of your head. So they need to use that brand. They need to use that tagline in that space. The other thing is that if I go to awards, I mean, let's look at the rest of the website real quick. People behind the science, you go to, hey, smiling faces, again, more lab coats, some clean rooms. Okay, they're little videos. These are fine. I mean, and they're not magical. They're not amazing, but they're good. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're supporting ideas that every player is a different role, but it's all the same tune. So we're all working as a one Moderna kind of model. Over here, you say you never see someone struggling by themselves. Everyone's super helpful. So it's a supportive environment. It's a collaborative environment. Over here, you say I can see the impact in the world every day. Impact calls makes perfect sense. Good stuff. Fine. But it's here in awards that I think there's another missed opportunity. So everybody loves this great, wonderful place to work. And I don't like to kind of give them any more press than they already have. They have 5,000 companies that they list as great places to work. I don't know that there are 5,000 companies that are in fact great places to work, but that's a separate conversation. But over here in Moderna's career section, under their awards, that is the top award they list. Then they get to Forbes' world's top female-friendly companies. Okay, so you're starting in an award that pretty much everybody knows is a pay-for-play award. You have to pay for this award or else you don't get to use that badge. Forbes, I'm not sure if that's a pay-for-play or not. Axios Harris Poll Reputation Ranking, that's not a pay-for-play. Debuted at number 3. That's a pretty strong message. Biospace Best Place to Work. I don't know if that's pay-for-play or not. Here, we have 5 awards down. And this is a lot of scrolling I just did. 5 awards down, you have Fast Company's Best Places for Innovators and Most Innovative Companies. This is not pay to play. For my money, and I am cynical about awards as you might suspect, this is one of the handful of awards that I would love to have. No matter what company I'm in, this is an award that has status, that has impact, that has reputation. This is a powerful award. Companies that get this cannot buy their way onto these lists. They're limited by 100 companies every single year. And here they are saying they debuted at number 1 and they tied at number 1. These are really strong claims. For a company trying to talk about how incredibly innovative they are, why are they burying these awards down here? This to me is a huge missed opportunity. These are the 2 awards that should be surfaced to the top. Okay, you want to say you're a great place to work? Fine, but that should be the flavoring you add to the meal, not the meal. The meal's down here. The meal is down here. Fortune's changing the world. Fortune's Future 50. These are much more powerful awards for a company trying to innovate. Remember, a brand is a pattern. It is a consistent narrative. If you say, here are the 17,000 things we do well, it's hard for anybody to remember what any of those things are. If you have a clear idea to say we're all about innovation, and remember, in biotech, innovation plays are hard. Everybody's innovating. Everyone wants to make that claim, and they do, that they're very innovative. You have to really level up to be the most innovative. That's a big claim to make. You have to justify it. You have to support it. You have to bolster it. And you don't bolster it by talking about other bullet points, right? If you go back here to people behind the science, again, you're talking about collaboration. You're talking about never see someone struggling by themselves. So support, impact, collaboration, not about innovation. And this is what my challenge is overall for Moderna. You are in a very, very insanely crowded market. You have a golden opportunity to lay claim to the most innovative company. Whether it's true or not, that's complicated. I'm not here to judge, and Lord knows I'm not a scientist, so don't ask that of me. But if they have the opportunity to make that claim, they need to make it and they need to own it. It needs to be threaded through every single one of these stories. I don't mean to say that everybody who speaks has to say, I love Moderna. They're very innovative. It was better than cats. I want to see it again. You don't have to act like people who are hypnotized or have been feeding lines, right? You don't have to look like kidnapped victims holding in today's newspaper, I am fine, they're treating me well. But if you're going to talk about collaboration, talk about how collaboration leads to innovation. If you're going to talk about support, talk about how support creates more innovation. If you're going to talk about impact, Again, connect it to innovation. That's what strong brands do very well. They create this magical through line where no matter where you go, you still connect innovation. Think of it like going to a Disney theme park. Is there, I mean, you've seen all the pictures if you haven't actually gone, all the what they call the hidden Mickeys, the big circle and two little circles of ears. It's hidden, woven in the carpet. It's woven in the tree trunks that they've manufactured. It's woven in the paper. It's all over the place. It is this idea that there's a little bit of Disney magic in everything they do. And I mean, literally woven into the carpet, literally woven into the fabric of everything that company does. And when you have that sense of it's a claim and we've supported it across every single level, it's hard to kind of say, I don't believe it. You may not like it, but you can't get to the point where you say, I don't believe it. Moderna has a great chance of being seen as a great innovative company. They've got the raw materials here. They just need to rearrange them a little bit and connect the dots a little more strongly. Sure, you want to be known as supportive and collaborative and making an impact. Sure, that's great. But you can't let it pull away from the real narrative of being innovative. If you want to be the most supportive, great, be the most supportive. But suddenly you seem to be throwing away the advantage you have of being one of the handful of companies in the world who invented a COVID vaccine and put it out in the world. So that's my brand breakdown of Moderna, a company I'm a big fan of in general. Lord knows some of the products floating around in my body at some point. So I'm a user, as it were, but could be better. There's ways of strengthening that brand. They've got a good opportunity. They just need to take advantage of it. Thanks so much for being a part of this. If you liked this sort of thing, if you like this sort of information, I would love to do a breakdown of your brand. So just ping me on LinkedIn, ping me on my website, go to employerbrandlabs.com, wherever you want to find me. I'm online all the time. Ping me, let me know of a company I should do a breakdown of just like this. I'm planning on doing this every week for a while, so let me know who I should look at next. Remember, not about telling anybody they're doing anything bad. It's simply about saying we can all be better at this, and here's one perspective that might make you make your brand a little better. All right, thanks so much for listening, and I will see you next time.